Where do we go? How do we discuss such an individual? How do we treat it lightly? How can we hate on him mildly? Or should we be hating on him mildly? Should we be isolating him, provoking him, bringing him out of his little corner, exposing him further for the nonce he is? Who am I speaking about? Well, let me try and pronounce his full name. It's Akinwale Alofa Wafa Lichijomi Aluwatopi Arabiki. He is a British convicted criminal known locally in the northwest of England as Perpalaki. He is a 6'5" in tall bodybuilder who weighs 22 stone. 22 stone. He's got a William like a baby's arm. Imagine that going up the back chute. His height is 2 meters. He was born in 1961. He's over 60, people. He's over 60 years of age. Now let me listen to what I'm saying to you. Last week in the city of Liverpool, you've got a group of young men in the city of Liverpool with the models intact. They've been driving down the street. I don't know how they recognised this individual, Perpalaki, but he was stood there in all dark clothing on the end of the street, stalking someone. Now this is a 60-year-old man who's got numerous offences for stalking people, intimidating people, you know, for a whole catalogue of reasons, whether that's sexual or intimidation for court reasons, you know, to jeopardise court cases. So what's the convictions that are recognised is the manslaughter one. This is how we all come to the attention of the masses. Before this, he was known, you know, he was a scare story for the kids to get them off the streets. Here's Perpalaki, would all run away. There was songs that people used to play and used to say he used to play these when he was attacking kids. That's how deep this nonce is in the city of Liverpool, right? Now this kid, who we've been stalking for well over a year, I forgot the kid's name, but I've done a little thing on him. It's on my YouTube somewhere. Stalking him for a year. Eventually the kid's had enough. He's ran. Akin Arabiki's chased him. He's crossed the railway line. Bang, he's died. Akin Arabiki's arrested. He eventually gets to a manslaughter charge and gets acquitted at court. So now what we've got here is a 60-year-old man plus who's a prolific sex offender all over the country, not just Liverpool, all over the country. He's intimidating people left, right and centre for criminals. Whether that's to extort money, whether that's to retract statements in criminal proceedings, or whether that's just to damage some of the family for the dealing family. That's his priorities and that's what he does. And that's why he's not dead. Do you think any other sex offender would be able to walk the streets of Liverpool the way he is? The way he has done? And there's only one reason for that. And that's his connections. I knew his connections, the people he grew up with. How did I first meet Akin Arabiki? I think I've told you before. I'll just go over the story again. I met him through a fella called Tommy Gilday. This is how I first met Akin Arabiki. It was through a man called Tommy Gilday. He used to come to Tommy Gilday's and he used to sit in the kitchen, drink tea and chocolate biscuits with the likes of Joe McNally, George Bromley Sr. and Tommy Gilday. That's how I first met this nonce. And even back then, he was feeling like the Fitzies, the Fitzgibbon family. This notorious Fitzgibbon family, yeah? Everyone's a bit shook at them. Jason's a little bit of a homosexual, masturbates in parties and all this kind of stuff. They were victims of Akin Arabiki time ago. We could be in Tommy's, me as a little T-boy dating his daughter, and I'd observe, and you'd have them fitsies there, were acting at a beaky, squeeze life out of them, and they couldn't have it. And that is the power that nonce has had in the city of Liverpool for such a long, long time. And no one's ever spoke to him. The way he's been attacked with them fireworks the other day, no one has ever done that to this nonce in the city of Liverpool. So the lads that have done that deserve maximum credit. Why? Because that nonce is going to stalk us for the rest of his years. For the rest of his years. Now, people always ask, is Aachen a hard man? Can Aachen Arabiki fight? When Aachen Arabiki was in his prime, he scrapped. There's loads of stories, none witnessed, some witnessed. The one I can refer to right now, there was an incident. Well, let's go on. Let's refer to another kid that became victim to Aachen Arabiki's advances. And this kid was called Daniel Reid. How can I message you, bro? Painting, please. Choose a life, not a knife. Instagram, mate. Daniel Reid from the city of Liverpool off Tailmere Road was a victim of Aachen Arabiki, and he was for years and years. Couldn't get rid of him. Everywhere Danny Reid was, Aachen Arabiki was. Danny Reid tried to play it off like it weren't something homosexual, but it was, and that's all it was. And they were very close then too. Me and Danny Reid years ago had a little altercation. Danny Reid stabbed me, I robbed him. That's what happened with me and Danny Reid. But anyway, move on. Years later, I'm around the Gilday family, and so's Aachen Arabiki. Where could you find Arabiki? Most times is sat in the magistrate's court, and he'd sit there with a little bag, a little plastic bag with his packed lunch in, a few money bags of coins, and a few papers and documents relating to certain court cases. And why would he be sat in them courtrooms? Is to locate witnesses that would give statements, to get addresses. And in the early part of the proceedings, he'll be present to put pressure upon the witnesses. So they'd see Aachen Arabiki, understand his past and his, you know, who he works with, and they'd back off the case straight away. And that's what he's being used for years and years and years. Brendan Maguire, is it true that he is educated like a legal brief, knowing how far he can push the laws? Of course, yeah. Yeah, but the bottom line is, ignore how intelligent he is. Think about his sexual crimes. His sexual crimes that he's been getting away with for decades and decades. 30 years plus. He's over 60 now, and he hasn't stopped. You know, he's been doing jail since the age of 25. He has not stopped. The only thing that's not being proven, which I believe he has, he's took a kid away and he's nonced him and he's killed him. It's just not being proven. There's no way you've got him, such a volatile, violent, manipulative, deceitful predator. Very easy to exploit the youth. He's got all these mad skills that can manipulate anyone. There's no way he is not, in the past 40 years, went a bit further than squeezing muscles. There's no way he is not went a bit further than raping a young man. He's went the fucking 9 yards, this nonce. He's just never been arrested for it. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And why hasn't he been arrested for it? For the same reason he's not lifed off. For the same reason the only nonce with 50 offences pled guilty to, and he gets 18 months for it. It's all there. He's been entangled with the law and the hierarchy of the criminal fraternity in the city of Liverpool since day dot, since it established itself. And he has sucked the William of known people. People that back him and say he's not a nonce. People that confirm he's not a nonce when it's quite blatant to my generation and the generation under me that he's a dirty homosexual nonce. No ifs or buts about it. It doesn't matter that I'm using the word homosexual towards him. I'm not saying all homosexuals are nonces. What I'm saying is, he is a homosexual nonce that would rape boys. He will go round, exploit, get kids into mad positions where they're probably sucking his William because they're scared. photoed him, and then he's going in like a dirty rapist he is. Akhenaten Biki should have been put in the floor 20 years ago. The reason he never is because he's well in touch with the gang of perverts that sit at the top. The people that back him, the people that use him for all sorts of reasons, whether sexual or intimidation tactics in court cases. So, it is what it is. Finally, in the city of Liverpool, the tide's turning. You've got young Scouse men going, hang on a minute, how the f*** is this nonce just stood at the end of our street, hands in his pocket, 6'6", 22 stone, stood there watching a group of lads from a distance. That's all I'm gathering from that video. Yeah, so that's the young lad's name who was running away from Akhenaten Biki. Gary Kelly, not related to the others, but Gary Kelly, the young lad. So, Strange Ways, 2005, 2006. We're all in there. You got me, Danny, Wes Brown, Sam Cole. There's a lot of Scousers in there at that moment in time. And Akhenaten Biki. Akhenaten Biki lands on a wing and he starts befriending a certain individual from Manchester, Peter Devlin, I think is Peter Devon or Devlin or something like that. I knew Peter because he was on the remand wing with us when he got sentenced. He went down onto the sentenced wing. Akhenaten Biki's on that wing and he's on the landings and he's exploiting and he's intimidating young Manchester kids. He gets in the cell with this young Manchester kid and he asked the Manchester kid to get through a chair. I'm not bullshit. He asked the Manchester kid to get through a chair. And he's done this tactic quite a few times in the prison system. What do you mean get through a chair? It's a mad, he gets them to do a mad thing on the chair, like an exercise sort of thing, and gets them stuck in the chair. So once they're stuck in the chair, he just does all little horrible mad movements on them and they can't do to them. And that's what it is. So this kid from Manchester, one of the boys from Manchester, didn't like what happened, went out, told his boys, the boys rushed him. All the kids from Manchester rushed this Akhenaten Biki, give him an eye and give him a slap. The kid that Akhenaten Biki had tried to nonce on the chair, within 24 hours, that kid's front door went in, his sister got slashed down her face by Danny Reid, who's dead now. Danny Reid and Ryan Humphreys, another from Liverpool, that was under Akhenaten Biki's little spell. They went through this Peter kid's sister's door, cut her down her face. And that's the power that Akhenaten Biki had amongst the criminal fraternity in the city of Liverpool. Has he still got that? I don't know. You don't really see any of his bum boys around him now, do you? Is Purple Aki a loner? No. He's in contact with loads of people that he gets looked after by certain people like a Frenchie. You know, people who grew up with him.